Well, after our miracle finish to season 10 with Southend United, we are back for our summer transfer special today. Yes, we have smashed our transfer record. We have nearly doubled it in one summer. And we've also got a very big game in a competition I always forget about. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 82 and season 11 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. After our sharpest rise in, well, our channel's history in one of these saves, we are back today to start a new season with the UEFA Super Cup Final, the competition I always forget about after our remarkable Europa League win. That in our debut European season meant Champions League football this year, and while we've not gone and got a whole host of players in, we have tried to get the necessary upgrades in certain positions, and in three of the main four I was targeting, I have managed to do so thus far. It's also an opportunity to win our second competition of the season due to another one I'd forgotten about a bit earlier in pre-season. So if you're looking forward to seeing what's been going on and what players have been coming in to Southend United, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. You can see there's some familiar old faces at Xavi's side, Conor Gallagher and Darwin Núñez, two that have got knocks today, but Teddy Ivanov again, perhaps missing out for us. Before that though, we've got a lot to get through, and we're going to start with the transfer news because there's been quite a bit going out of the club, and this time there's been a couple of big signings too, so let's get through to the transfer screen and see what's been going on. We start with the transfer centre, where we're starting to get a couple of big bids for our star players. Jude Sadler now up to 40 odd million from Saudi Arabia. I would happily let him go for this price, and I nearly accepted that offer, but we've had top scouting priorities for goalkeepers. We've been looking elsewhere, and we can't find anyone for less than the same price that's as good, or certainly for less than double the wage or triple the wage that's as good. So at the moment, I've not really got any other option but to keep him because I can't let him go without a replacement, particularly given how Caljo's done over the last year. Herbert has very quickly become our best centre-half. He's going to stay here for now as well. But let's have a look at what's been done already. And shall we start with the release players? Because on there, well, there were a couple of names that featured for the team once or twice. I thought Jack Morehouse was on there as well, but maybe I'm wrong. Jack Swift went out of the club. He left after playing a few games back in the day. How many years ago was that now? In a championship, he made 4 appearances, 3 of them off the bench. But he now moves on and tries to build a career in a non-league game. He starts at Woking in the National League. If we move back to the players that have gone in and out though, you can see the big fees that have been spent on one or two. But let's start with the outs at the end of the year, which were pretty plentiful. Mostly players that were out on loan last year who have either gone out again or sold permanently, and 1 or 2 fringe players that have moved on too. So we start with Abu Sanko, who's gone on loan to Hartlepool, featured a bit in the Europa last year, but just needs a season of game time now. Alexis Orellana, the young goalkeeper, he's gone out on loan to Coventry, try and boost himself again. He might come back and replace Caljo as second choice, depending on how he gets on. Kerr Smith goes to Norwich for 3.5 million. You're not alone if you forgot that we had him at the club. Simon Cummins, again, featured in the Europa a bit last year. He's gone out on loan to Hartlepool, I think. Yep, joining Sanko there. Ahmed Adeniji, fringe player, has gone to Plymouth for 3 million quid. Actually ended up making a loss on him, which is a real surprise. Had a good attitude, had a good personality, and played regular Premier League football from 18 to 21. But just didn't develop. It was one of the really unique scenarios compared to what's happened with most of our players here. He'll now build his career in a championship where he started well, and he's a very good player. And then Kevin Golobeck, a young goalkeeper who's gone on loan to Stenhousemuir. He's not bad. We did have one young player come in at the start of the summer as well. Cody Muir is a left wing back at Middlesbrough. 1.5 ability, a little bit of potential, but I just saw something in him. A decent personality, an okay player. Going to get international football at youth level as well. And I thought, look, as a free agent on £2 a week, it's worth a gamble to see if we can get something out of him. On to this year though, and that's where the big action is happening. If we look at the outs, there is Jack Morehouse. We'll get to him in a minute. We start with Silvestre Sanhueza, who's gone out on loan to Middlesbrough. Played a lot in Europe in the first half of last season, but was pushed down the pecking order when Mauricio arrived and when Joe Hugill came back to form. So rather than him sitting here as an emergency sixth choice, I thought let's go and get him championship football. Not scored yet, but playing well. Hopefully will develop. Moving down, we've got Paul Richardson to St Mirren on loan. He's okay. We've also got Jack Morehouse, who goes to Watford on a free. A big move for us, that. In fact, the Richardson one was a free as well. He's moved at the end of his deal. Jack Morehouse was a club legend for us. Played in all 5 divisions, featured in the 4 promotions, and was a star player probably up to the first Premier League season. And it ended up just being a step too far. But a very good career in the Championship. As we saw in the last episode, the bookmark played in a final for Ireland in the Euros. He's definitely got talent and he's had a great career. So a club legend forever. Well done to him. Christian Jagiel went for 6 million to Leeds. He had a release clause in his contract from his loan deal. And to be fair, we got him for about 500 grand. That's a great deal for someone who barely featured. Darren Keachie, youngster to Morecambe. A few others out. Adamola Okoye, developing a bit, but probably not quite going to make it for us. The first big sale from one of our youth players, though, is someone you've probably never heard of. Rolf Zimmermann has gone to Wolves for a fee rising to 15.5 million quid. There's a big sell-on in there as well. It's a Portuguese youth player who had, I think, 3-star potential, yeah. And he's been sent there. They see something in him. He's got a good personality. I've no doubt he'll reach it. And he's all right all round at the minute. But I just felt for the money, that's a good deal. And I'm not sure he was going to get in our squad. Not ahead of the players we had. Moving further down, David Harkin has gone to Lincoln. Still improving. I'm not sure he's going to make it now, though. Matej Lejnik, another player you may have forgotten about. He's gone to Olympiacos for 7.5 million. A good profit made on him, signed for 1.3. And to be fair, he was a regular for us for 2.5 years. But for now, I think we understand that we've got better players than him. Another left back, Rick George, has gone to Fulham. He goes on loan for 65 grand with all of the wages covered. Not far off first team level for us, but I just feel Kamara and Ishmael are better. And it's the one position I wanted to improve that I've not been able to yet. The final 2 I haven't mentioned actually, Remford Gardner-Smith, cheap deal to Coventry with a sell-on. There were loan options, but I thought, why not sell him because he's not going to make it. Then Marcus Obekjar, who we signed as a young player a couple of years ago. Maybe not excited as much as we thought. He's gone to Kilmarnock in the SPL, and he'll get a good chance to develop now. 3 players have come in at first team level though. One smashes the transfer record and actually was 3rd choice in the position. I'll show you the other 2 in a minute. And then 2 players who we've got for a bit of a steal. The first name, Drew O'Day, you may recognise because we tried to sign him all the way back in League One. He rejected us to go to a fellow League One side in Birmingham to play for Ange Postecoglou. We both got promoted and he's been stuck in the Championship ever since, despite the fact he was listed as an elite centre-half and still is. He's 6'2", he's very good. I'm not sure he's elite. He reminds me of sort of maybe a Johnny Evans, that sort of level. Very similar attributes to him when he was at United and that. But he's just a really good player. 25 years of age, big international for the Republic of Ireland. Again, will have played in that Euros final. Played nearly 300 games for Birmingham, but I don't think has ever set foot in the Premier League. No, he hasn't. So this is going to be a big step up for him. But with us having Champions League football as well, loads of extra games, I thought it was good to bring him in. And so far, I'm very impressed with his quality. Bar a little bit of pace, he's probably better than Harrison Parker. We might have to see that develop over the season. The big deal, though, is on the left-hand side of midfield, where Sam Ammo has declined after a big injury. David Mira didn't really settle and improve, and Adozie is the wrong side of 30 with just 1 year left on his deal. I'd hope that one of those 3 will move on this window. But for now, Ryan Adamson is the 3rd choice replacement for 37 million from Wolves. He is a very good young player, 24 years of age, model citizen, physically sublime. Everything else is good and the potential is great and his wages are very low. Now, all of those are positives. When you compare him to the 2 we've missed out on, you'll probably think, right, it's not so positive now. But he is a player with potential and he's very good. So I'm going to trust him to become a superstar. Lights going down the left. He's a natural winger and I feel he's got room to grow into. So thrilled with him. Thrilled with a personality for the mentoring group. But when you see what I've missed out on, you'll see what I mean. The final one popped up a couple of weeks ago as we were continuing our intensive search for fullbacks. And Armin Memic, I think, is our long-term solution on the right-hand side because he comes in from Dinamo for his release clause, which is less than £9 million. And this boy is a 20-year-old wonder kid. He's a superstar. I think he's our first Croat at the save. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But great defensively. Determination sublime. He's brave. Physically, he's monstrous. 6'2" at the back stick, which is important. He can also cover centre half if we do have a crisis. And he's not bad going forward. He's got a cross in him. He's decent off the ball. He'll do enough there. Not played a lot of senior football, but 5 caps for Croatia, a few games for Dinamo, and a superstar in waiting, in my opinion. So 3 very good additions rather than lots of average ones this year. And don't forget, that's in addition to a young team that continues to improve. There's still a few bits of deadwood that we've got to get out of the squad or young players we've got to loan out. So Soren Hansen probably goes out on loan. We've definitely got to get one of the left wingers out. I'm trying with either Mira or a Dozy. But apart from that, 5 strikers, 4 centre mids, 4 fullbacks, then Asensio who can cover centre mid or fullback. We've also got 5 centre halves. We've also got 5 strikers. And we've got a couple of good goalkeepers. I mean, we can't be too unhappy really, can we? There is a potential for a couple of other changes elsewhere. So Baranda is getting interest from Saudi. And here's someone that I would sell for the right price, given the fact Asensio is a good backup and versatile. And we've now signed Memic too. And up front, we've still got that nagging interest in Wills and Ivanov. But they've all signed new deals. As you can see, we have upped the wage structure for those top players. So Ivanov, Wills and O'Day coming in, all on decent wages. A lot of the ones just below, particularly Jimenez Yucalano, they've got contract clauses that will be triggered when they get to 10 international caps. And that will take them up to 50, 60, that sort of range. And I want them to earn it. So fair play to them. If they can do that, they deserve to get the raise. But there are a few players that are probably coming towards the end now. Edozie is one where I think his impact might dwindle. Maybe January we'll see him move on. And in goal, we've probably still got a problem. If I could get a dream summer, it'd be a new first choice keeper with Jude Sadler becoming a backup or moving on. And then definitely a left back because I'm still not convinced by Cameron Ishmael. And Kamara's good, but going forward, he's much better than defensively. At the back, I still feel he leaves us wanting a bit. We have also got the option to move Herbert out there, play 2 of the other centre halves. We might even experiment in the Champions League, particularly away from home this year, of playing with a back 3. Because now, with the 5 centre halves we've got, Herbert, O'Day, Williams, Fernandez and Parker, we've got genuine quality there. Then you've got Memic who can actually tuck in naturally. It gives us 6 options. So that's something we might return to as well, just to stop us getting battered at the top sides. And we might need that earlier than we think, because if we go and have a look at the schedule, we have got, and I kid you not, probably our most horrid start to the season yet. We start today against Barcelona. We then go away to Southampton, which is okay on paper, but 3 days later. We then face Arsenal, United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Villa, Wolves, Spurs, City. We are facing 6 of last season's top 8 in our first 9 games. We've got Everton a couple after that. And then potentially we've got a very good run going into the festive period, but it is where the fixtures are congested and we're going to have Champions League as well. So I'm not sure this is going to be a particularly pleasant ride. We'll wait and see how it pans out. Of course, we've got the silly 4-week break for the internationals at the end of September, and they're probably going to need it the way we're going at the minute. But for now, let's have a quick recap of one big game in pre-season. The Euro South America Club Challenge, which I thought was just one for the Champions League winner against the Copa Libertadores, but apparently there's a second tier one as well. And we have played it, we have won it. And to be fair, it looks like it's generally been dominated by the English sides, unless it's Santos who have been involved, which it wasn't for us. So a really comfortable 4-0 win there early in the pre-season. Sam Ammo played and scored. Harrison, Mauricio and Ivanov all got one as well. Joe Wills wasn't fit for that game. But even though it's not going to be the most memorable competition, it certainly wasn't worth getting that excited about. It's another trophy on the board. It's another bit of success and we're getting used to winning. Whether we can do that against Barcelona tonight, I'm not sure. You can see they've got a couple of familiar Premier League names there. And speaking of the Premier League, before we go and get into it, let's see where the media have got us this season. Have they finally given us some respect? Not really. They've got us predicted 12th. We're in a Champions League with Brighton, Everton, United, Liverpool and City. Europa League is Arsenal and Newcastle. Aston Villa a Conference League. It's a bit of a weird setup, isn't it? So is that 9 teams in the Premier League that have got European football? It is. The 3 promoted sides, Reading, Palace and Norwich, will keep an eye on. I don't think we've got to worry about relegation because we've had 2 decent years now. But last season it was mid-table, and 2 years ago, before the big season, we were fighting relegation. So we've only actually got more than 35 points twice in the Premier League. I don't think we can get too overexcited just yet. But for now, the focus is not Premier League today. We are going over for the UEFA Super Cup Final. A massive game as Barcelona face Southend. We've seen the English sides have had relative success in this competition. The Europa League winners quite often getting the victory. But let's see who we can put out today. It's going to be a big 11. You can see some of the names there. Pedri, Gavi, Yamal, Fati, all still going at the club. Araujo and Balde there as well. They've got Esposito. They've got Musiala, who they've signed from Bayern. And the 2 big Premier League boys missing through injury. It's not a bad little squad they've got there, is it? Xavi still at the club or has returned, one of the two. So let's get our 11 picked, see what the assistant goes for, and make our adjustments to adapt to it. Back in a moment to run through the 11. Well, it's been an interesting pre-season, and we're having to adapt a bit to players that have been injured, have missed weeks, or have got a return to fitness on the cards. And we have still got to think about the Premier League too. So up front, we're without Ivanov, and I've gone for Mauricio, who of the 3 others has had the best pre-season. We've also had an injury to Parker during it, so I'm going to go for Drew O'Day as centre-half. Memic will make his debut just to get settled in. Feel it might be a bit harsh, but Branda, not quite match fit anyway, doesn't matter. I've gone for the strongest midfield, Adamson in for a big game. And then on the bench, we've gone strong, but you can see there is still a bit of surplus at the minute, which we've got to be careful of. So this is the 11 we've gone for in full. Jude Sadler, the unhappy goalkeeper, he wants to go to Saudi. I had the chat and said, what pay rise would tempt you to stay? And he said, oh, I'll stick about if you give me 300 grand a week. Based on that, I'm guessing the Saudi wages haven't gone down too much. Memic and Ishmael the fullbacks with Herbert and O'Day as centre-half. We've got Yukalano and Adamson, the new 2 wingers, with Jimenez and Bernberg in the middle. And then Mauricio joins Super Joe Wills up front, who is without his partner in crime today, but can he still deliver the goods? He did in the Europa League final. Let's see if he does in this one. Well, lots of changes for our Champions League winning opponents today. And of course, that's still with a couple of injuries as well. It's not a bad side. They have put one youngster in at right back, but the rest of the squad is incredibly strong. And he probably wouldn't be playing if Conor Gallagher was fit. So you've got to say it's a fairly strong Barca team. It's not one we're expecting to win, but you don't know what to expect in these games. No music for the UEFA Super Cup. They need to get a theme tune, don't they? Lovely graphics though as we go through to the first half. Can't remember where this was being played actually. I think it was in Ukraine. So let's see how it goes. We're into the first half. Barcelona expected to dominate as Champions League winners. Can we shock the odds? Well, doesn't look it early on as Barca are on the ball. They've got the home dressing room, but the away kit on. That's an interesting choice. It's a big switch of play, which is won by Yamal. Gavi gets into the box. It's through to Fati. We were 2 down in 3 minutes in the Europa final. And we're 1 down in 7 minutes in the UEFA Super Cup. Lamine Yamal gets the goal. Fati assists it. And I'm not sure this is going to be quite as easy to come back from as it was in the last final. As Barca have got the throw-in on the right-hand side again, you can see they're very confident on the ball. I mean, they look a top side. And you can see why they're winning the big competitions, even above the English boys. It wasn't all Spanish final. They pipped Real Madrid. I think they're going to do more than pip us the way they're going. Just need to hope they run out of steam very quickly. As Peretz goes forward long, headed away by Bernberg to Ishmael. Brought down on his foot in the end, but here's Herbert into Bernberg, who can carry it into midfield. Space to run into, finds Yukalano. Wills to Mauricio. Was he onside? Doesn't matter. He was in the end, but he ballooned the chance. It's the one thing that we miss Teddy Ivanov for. Mauricio or Jensen, they're just not quite as clinical when they get those one-on-ones on the floor in front of goal. All good in the air. On the deck, not quite the same as Adamson. Down the line for Wills, having a solid debut. Wills now looking to produce some stardust. Gets to the byline, delivers the ball. Mauricio's up in the air. I did tell you, didn't I? No problem with the aerial threat. They're all 6 foot. They're all good at the back stick. And Mauricio has taken advantage with a big goal. If only we could get them to the same level on the floor, we're going to have an absolute field day. Joe Wills turns provider with some wonderful football. He's just becoming an all-round world-class player. And after Barca's early threat, they've not really got into the game now, which is great to see. I mean, Will still hasn't played for England. That seems incredibly harsh. Adamson struggling with morale, which is a shame. But Memic has got the throw to Ukulano. He beats Balde. This would be some turn up. Jimenez in, cleared away. Oh, he's going for a penalty. No way. I mean, if this is no penalty as well, it's so harsh on Barca because they were away 2v2 and we weren't stopping them. Not with the players we had back. This is a huge decision for the referee. He's looking at the screen. Go on, give it. Give it. Give us a penalty so we can go 2-1 up. That's the chance. It is no penalty. I mean, I'm thrilled still because they were away on the counter. That is so poor against Barcelona. They will not be happy. But we have grown into this game in the second half of the first half. And as we approach the break, we're 1-1. Well, we've got the ball in our own box here. Ishmael throwing it away to Wills. Flicked on for Mauricio. Not even sure what he was trying to do there, but it was awful. It's over the top to Fatty. Herbert does well. Was it not offside? Musiala gets in. He might score here. Beats O'Day and does score. The two new players at the back struggling a little to combine there. It did look to me like the first one was offside, and that's the only reason he headed it clear. That's the frustration with those sorts of moves. At half-time, Barca ahead 2-1 from their first two shots on target. Let's say you've been unlucky so far. Adamson nervous on his debut. I'd like to hope some muddle sitters and that won't be lasting. We'll keep an eye on it as the weeks go on. Maybe it's just because it's his first game and probably the biggest he's ever played in. We'll get past the hour mark and then we'll think about subs. Before that though, Joaquin Jimenez has picked up a knock. It's not a position we've got a natural replacement as the box-to-box. And I bring Berek on and move Bernberg over. I'm also going to take Adamson off for Sam Ammo. Could have brought Kamara on, but I'm going to stick with the aggressive option. Ishmael might have to come off as well. Yokolano might too. O'Day's not having the best game. I'm going to bring Harrison Parker on. And I'm going to leave the other two subs for now. But we'll only give it 5 or 10 more minutes because there's going to be fatigue. Still a few players not up to speed. A lot of had pre-season injuries. We need to be careful. It'll probably be Ishmael and Yokolano. The Sam Ammo goes back to Ishmael and Berek. Extra passing range in the midfield now. As Herbert goes back to Parker. We did exchange that for losing a bit of legs though. As Bernberg to Berek. The ball forward is not good. He might have added his passing range in, but if he's nervous, it counts for nothing. Yamal skins the lot. That's unbelievable. That is the level of play that we just can't keep up with. Yamal skins half the team, makes it look like our defenders aren't there. And unfortunately, Berek is at fault for that. Takatsuka and Kamara will come on. And we'll just try and get through the rest of the game. Hopefully the Jimenez injury isn't bad. It was always wishful thinking to think we would win this one. Maybe a sign of what's to come in a Champions League if we don't get a very fortunate draw. It'll be about sneaking in the 24, maybe picking our games. A bit like we've had to in the head coach save this year. The Sam Ammo breaks away for Wills down the left. We're getting two in support. Wills down to the byline again. This is where the first goal came from. Into Mauricio. He just isn't clinical enough. That's 3 good chances he's had now and he's only scored 1. It's not enough at this level, I'm afraid. Ivanov can't come back quick enough. We're going to encourage the boys. I just want a respectable finish now. It's a corner for Barca. Wills heads up. Sasana brings it down. Good challenge, Takatsuka. Not enough to get it clear, though. Naraljo goes back to Gavi. They work down the right to Yamal, the superstar who scored the goal that pretty much settles this match now. The Zagara goes back to Darvic. Into Fatty. Might be offside. If not, 4-1 is a little bit harsh, but you've got to say they've deserved to win the game. They've got the better players. They've got the bigger threat. But the gap stays 2. That one rightly chalked off. And we keep it respectable enough for now. Maybe a mistake in hindsight putting half a new defence in for this game, but we've got to think about the domestic season too. Can we qualify for Europe of our own accord in the league? Because we're not going to qualify via the winning the Champions League, are we? Ansu Fati breaks down the left-hand side. Chance to cross. Instead forced backwards by Berek, who's been dragged way out of position there. That might be a problem through the middle now with Darvic. Back to Araujo. Barca just playing a tiki-taka, toying with us at the back. Musiala ring. Kamara's header's awful. Falls for Yamal. Turns him inside out. Cuts in on his left. It's brilliant again. God, that kid is unbelievable. Still in his 20s, of course, as well. remarkable footballer, two unbelievable individual goals. And defensively, we just can't compete. We've done a decent job. We kept it respectable for the most part. But Barcelona just too good. They win the UEFA Super Cup by 4-1. We're going to need to boost the confidence for this season because we're going away to Southampton. And after that, we've got a horrible run of games, which we need to get ourselves up for. This one, no, not going our way. It's Barcelona we have to watch lift this competition. Maybe one time, a few years down the line, we'll get a chance to win it again. Let's go and get through the dressing room. You gave it your best shot. They're unhappy. I can kind of understand why. And then maybe it's good that they expect more. But I felt they gave it a really good go against, well, the best player in the world and some unbelievable footballers alongside. 4-1 the defeat. How is the injury though? Jimenez out 4 to 5 weeks. That basically takes him to the international break. We get 3 million just for playing in it. The money's coming around. 3 debuts out the way before the league game, which is important. Of course, we're going to have to rotate a bit on Saturday because 3 days is no time to recover. And it's not even that, is it? 'Cause it's a 3 p.m. kickoff, so 2.5 days to bounce back. But let's have a look at the schedule and when we're going to return, because unless we get a massive draw in the cup third round, I think we have to do deadline day in Chelsea. There is a chance there'll be a late transfer in because I'm still looking for a keeper and a left back, albeit unsuccessfully for now. And we are starting to get big offers for players such as Herbert, the goalkeeper, and we've got that interest in Baranda. So there's a chance there could be some big deals at the end of the window. We'll be back to find out if there are or not. Between now and then, though, we've got a pretty unfortunate start to the season. It will probably tell us a lot about where we expect to be this year. Got to try and get points on the board before European football starts. If we can, we'll be in a good position. And if not, I might come back panicking next time. If you enjoyed this one, a demolition job really in the Super Cup final against us. But overall, a very good summer window and positives going into the new year. And please do put a thumbs up on the video. In addition to all the good news on the pitch, we've got training facilities, youth facilities, a new affiliate club that we got to pick in League One, and so much more going on as well. Youth recruitment improved too. So lots to look forward to, lots for the long-term future. But this season could be a difficult one with Champions League football and with a tough season in terms of how the fixtures are scheduled. We're going to have to be at our best to make sure we compete. No Europe next year, we could end up with, well, a lot of our superstars leaving. So a top 8 finish is a must. If you want to stay up to date and find out if we can do it, or maybe win one of the domestic cups to get into Europe next year, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back in a couple of days' time for deadline day in Chelsea as we look to continue a tough start to the season. In between now and then, though, we'll be back with a decisive day in the head coach tomorrow, the January transfer window. And if you're up to date with that save, you will know that more than ever in any save I've ever had in FM, we need some signings in that one. Come and join me to see if we get them or not, or whether I tear my hair out at a director of football again. There's also links in the eye above to the Twitch channel and a football podcast where you can see loads of content over the next few weeks. But as always, a massive thank you for watching and your continued support with the series. I hope you're looking forward to a big season with Southend, where we play Champions League football for the first time. Back next time for deadline day. I'll see you there for it.